Welcome back to What the Prompt, where we don't chase hype, we break it down into dealership language. Sean, welcome to the show. Instead of giving me your resume, why don't you kick it off? Who are you? What does Glow 3D do? And how are you helping dealers win?
Thank you so much for having me. And so we're a Toronto-based, Canada-based startup where our focus is mainly on helping dealerships in any size, but specifically independent car dealers to automate their marketing. Something that they either are not doing now because they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, they don't have the time, and with automation, with AI, it will make it possible to do it at a fraction of a cost that they would have to do other methods. And that puts them in a very good position, let's say much better position in competing with giant companies that have endless resources. For me, I have studied architecture in Ryerson University in Toronto, and you might imagine, the one that designs houses and buildings. But the interesting thing is design is really the same whether you're designing a house or software. And life journey brought us into, working with my co-founder, and we developed this software that would help marketing. During the COVID, it really became even more needed because many dealerships were closed in many states, and they needed a software that would help them present online their cars, and our software would do just that. And then we grow into many softwares because the dealers started asking, oh, can you guys also do this, can you go also do that? And naturally, our software expanded into what it is today, which we have about 30 products. I would say half of them are AI powered, that help dealerships really automate a big portion of their marketing as well as their BDC now with the help of large language model. And we look forward to serve as many dealers as
You
we can.
said something powerful in our discovery call that AI actually helps independent dealers the most because they don't have giant marketing teams or photo booths. Break that down. How can a small dealer look like a big player?
Yeah, in general, we're entering into the world of AI, and I always say the same way the computer helped every single business, AI will also change that for every business. If you're an accountant, if you're a plumber, if you're an architect, computer helped you in a different way, but it helped you to automate a lot of things, it helped you to streamline things, and I will definitely be that. But then, the your audience might have heard this a lot that AI is here and AI is going to do this and AI is going to do everything. But the questions when we talk with dealers is two things. One is that is the AI good enough right now to do everything? Or better question is AI good enough today to do what task specifically, right? Like the same similar question that maybe at some point was that, okay, computer is going to eventually do a lot of things for us, but is the computer good enough today to do what? And this is really where we try to help dealers to understand how far AI is in reality, beside the hypes and all the talks and all the things that are not true, what is true, what it can actually do. And to tell you the truth, it can really improve many areas in dealership. You can start from digital merchandising, which is just basically a more fancy
Right,
word than
right.
taking the photos and videos and documenting a car to be ready for sale. It can help you there. And why we say, what I would say, it helps, in my opinion, AI in general helps smaller companies
Right.
more than larger companies. The reason is that it help you automate a lot of things, or help you streamline, or do things that otherwise you
Mhm.
needed human resource to do it. Or you would need a big team to do it, or dealers wouldn't even do it because they would have to hire agencies as at like thousands of dollars per month. And for many independent dealers, this is really, they
Right.
count every single dollar. And paying thousands of dollars, for example, to somebody to manage their marketing, where their entire budget is just thousands of dollars, is not tens of thousands of dollars, it wouldn't get justified. Like their entire marketing budget should go to the company that's supposed to do the work. So with AI, it can really help them automate a lot of things, help them from improving their backgrounds, where generative AI can help them, remove the background, replace the background, and still make it look like realistic and nice as if it is in a real photo booth. It helps them and save them, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a photo booth, on from purchasing to interest to real estate, a space that it needs dedicated to it where many don't have, to a staff to
Right.
run that photo booth and turntables for 360 spin, all the way to video
Hmm.
marketing to BDR, right? Like with large language models, there is a huge, huge opportunity for small dealerships to automate their BDR, significantly reduce their response time to the leads when it comes in. If they don't do it,
Right.
other dealers are doing it. And I always say, like right now, maybe it makes sense to respond the next day to a lead. But I promise you, in probably 6 months, majority of dealers are using AI to make at least the initial contact. And if their dealership is not using that, and every other dealership is calling or emailing or messaging in 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the lead, of the interest, then they're
Hmm.
responding the next day, or maybe somebody leaves a Saturday, they're responding Monday, somewhere around noon. That lead is lost. So the money they're spending on marketplaces or to generate those leads, they are lost to their competition who are using AI. There's this famous word, running around like AI is not going to replace your job, but people that use AI are going to,
Hmm.
steal your customer. And it is true. It's honestly true because it is all about the speed, right? Now with AI, dealers can speed up. They can do things a lot faster, and that could be their
Got it.
competitive
Got it.
advantage.
Definitely does make sense. Okay, so let's zoom out. Previously, when we spoke, you said something that stuck with me. Most auto software feels like a closed box. No integrations, no shared data, no clear pricing. Why is that still happening in 2025?
Very good question. Very good question. And I'm a very big advocate of transparency. And I think part of it comes back with the culture of B2B software that has been around, the way that, every customer, you meet with them, you understand the problems they have, the solution that you want to provide, and then you would come up with a specific pricing for that customer. So, I mean, before we're talking about maybe 30, 40 years ago, it was extremely at the early days of, B2B markets, software. It was really maybe impossible to provide, predetermined pricing because software companies were
Yeah.
so big and were so limited. You wouldn't see not even maybe 1/100th of this many software companies that are out there. And automotive always seems to be the one that is a little bit far behind in,
Hmm.
from other
Right.
retails, interestingly enough, even though that automotive is the biggest retail. And there are software
Right.
wise falling behind from other fashion and as an example of hotel industry, other retails, and that has changed. That has changed significantly. So now most of the software companies are focused on some specific verticals or some specific features. And for example, you find a software company that's
Hmm.
a CRM for automotive software. You see that a lot. For us, we're marketing software for automotive, and not just that, we're mainly software company for
Hmm.
independent car dealers. So you can see how like niche and how focused software companies, especially the one that are more successful, has become, and that's the reason why they're successful because they could really address specific problems in a
Hmm.
specific way that solves a problem that audience, that customer has, in our case, car dealerships. And that provides the opportunity for software companies to be more transparent, for sure. We are, our
Okay.
pricing is very clear there
Okay.
in our websites and people can see it. And I really advocate that. I think it's a great opportunity. And I think
Okay.
the reason it hasn't changed is partially the,
Right.
the legacy, if you would say, the legacy of, okay, this way. Part of it is really software companies sometimes becomes greedy in a sense that, okay, you know what, let's take as much as possible from each customer by interviewing them. But I think it is something that definitely the industry needs one of those changes that should happen. Transparent pricing, where customers can really learn from the website of it. That was another challenge. You go to a automotive
Hmm.
software company website, You
Right.
don't know what they're doing. Like you
Right.
can't see a sample of what they're claiming to do. Where we think that's another change. Let people see your pricing, let people see what you're exactly doing, and give them the tools to really compare and measure and make a correct decision.
So you're telling me you actually publish your pricing on your website? That's like an alien concept in auto.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. I think out of everybody who's in marketing in any software, we're probably one of the very few, if not the only one that we share. And we think that help us show our customers to build
Right.
trust from the step one that they come to our website. We show them exactly if you use our softwares, how it's going to look like, what they're getting, what are the sample, for example, if you do video tour, exactly how a sample video tour looks like, how a sample background removal will look like, not a exaggerated version of it or nothing at all. Exactly a customer sample, and on top of that, how much is going to cost them. So if you're a customer and come to your website, and I think it should be on any software company, the customer should be able to understand what they're getting, how much is going to cost them, and preferably ways for them to be able to try the software without risk, without long-term commitments. And for us, from the
Mhm.
beginning, this was a sort of a big milestone, a big achievement that we wanted to build a software around that it is transparent. You could leave us anytime you want, and we're very, very you could see what basically
Right.
what you see is what you get in a sense, and do your own due diligence, and decide on that.
Yeah.
And it has helped us. It has helped us to grow over
Wow.
1,000 dealerships now in a very short period of
Wow.
I think 3 years now that we're focused on the independent car dealer markets, which we're all proud of it, and I'm proud of everyone in our
That's
company to
amazing.
do
That's
that.
great. That's not a small feat, definitely, for a company. Man, when you were talking about the pricing, I had a customer come to me last week, and he wasn't your average customer. This guy, he literally told me he skipped high school and went straight into college. Right? He had a very unique email address domain, and it was like coolcomputers.com or something, right? That's not it, of course, but it was similar. But I was like, man, that you must have had that for a while, right? And then that's how we got into where I was building rapport, of course, and that's how we got into his early life. And he wanted to buy a Corvette Z06, extremely top notch Corvette, right? And he came in, and so he wanted employee pricing, no problem, no big deal. And then he wanted an additional 10,000 off of that. And I'm just listening, just hearing him out. And but his conversation with me was, Michael, I know the dealer gets X, I know the dealer gets Y, and honestly, this is stuff. And I've been in upper level management, and I've looked at P&Ls and docs. I've looked at. I'm sure there's some GM level reports and dealer principal level reports I haven't seen, but he was trying to hint that on these Z06s, there's an additional $10,000 off. It's amazing where one would get that idea from, right? But transparency. So what you're saying is transparency is key, right? Maybe there is another 10,000 off. At my role of my season today as a salesperson, I don't have that. Unfortunately for him, even on Z06s, you can't get employee pricing. So he was
Uh,
pretty he
Not
wasn't
a good luck.
yeah, I was
Not a
like,
luck
well,
that day.
we had to pull up the incentives and he couldn't get it. It's one of GM's rules on, but long story short, you're right.
Interesting.
Transparency drives trust, credibility, and authority, and people do appreciate that, definitely. So kudos to you and your team. If this combo already has your gears turning, do me a solid. Subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Share this episode with a dealer who's stuck using 7 logins to do one thing. Leave a reviews. Tell us what topics or guests you want. So, Sean, so you're in Toronto, but you mostly serve US dealers. Why is that? What are American stores doing differently that make them adopt faster?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, when we early on started, we had to choose a market. So we said, you know what, we're a small team at that time, Now we're over
Wow.
60 people. At that time, we
Yeah.
were about three, right? We were
Wow.
like a three co-founders, starting, and we said, okay, you know what? I'm not a technical founder, so I was the one that was
Yeah.
more in on the business side, and we said, okay, you know what? We want to do marketing. We have a small team. We should choose a market. And we had two choices, obviously Canada, as we are
Right.
in Canada, and then US would be another option. So we did a research, and we noticed what is nice think about U.S. companies is that they are more organized in a sense, and there are more trade shows and organizations and associations that really puts together dealerships on a state levels, and as well as on national levels. And different trade shows really helped us get introduced to the audience where we didn't really had that much, coherence, if you will, on Canadian sides. And the other reason was as we really pitched our software. So our software is more of a sort of a cutting edge software. Back then we were sort of focused on, we're talking about 3 4 years ago now, and it's a on technology timeline, it becomes a little bit older times. We're focused on
Hmm.
generative AI and like how we would process images using AI. And now that we're sort of adding large language models to it, on both sides, it was a more advanced technology. And it was really, we noticed American dealers are more open to try new technology, and they had a better understanding of, okay, like let's see how it's going to help my business, and
Yeah.
let me try. I'm going to try it. If it works, I'll continue. Where we noticed the Canadian was less; they were
Okay.
more conservative, if you will. So. Very soon, after trying both markets, we said, you know what, it's a bigger market, it's more open, it's more organized, and it became a sort of obvious choice for us.
Makes sense. Definitely.
So kudos to American dealers,
Yeah.
on being, yeah, more tech advanced and willing to,
Yeah.
more open to try new technologies, and then do more improvement. And also to America as a country as a whole. That's why, that you guys are
Yeah.
the leader of free world, is, you're open to new technologies and advancing things. So that's a great country, great nation to be a neighbor to, and also be friend with, and for
Hmm.
American dealers to be in it.
Definitely. It does encapsulate the entrepreneur risk taking mindset. We know it takes money to, you have to spend money to make money. That's a risk, like everything. And it sounds like they definitely, it does make sense. So I notice you do a lot of posts on LinkedIn that actually tugged my heartstring because I too like training people. I like helping folks get to where they want to go. We talked about this idea of teaching. You're not just pitching, you're showing dealers how to fish. I love that. What advice would you give dealers looking for an AI vendor? What questions should they ask?
Yeah, so very good question. I think, as for me
Hmm.
writing and trying to educate the audience in car dealerships, it's something that I guess comes part of it as a personality, to like to write and like to share my knowledge with, people around me and people that that can impact and help. So it's really comes along that. But it happened to be a good result for us because, believe it or not, our marketing is
Okay.
zero. We are
Okay.
probably, out of everybody is doing this, is that we literally, today I talked with, we have
Hmm.
$0
Hmm.
marketing budget. And majority, like literally the traffic we get
Yeah.
is either word of mouth, or we're getting it through what we call like organic search, that people search online, whether they're on LinkedIn or Google, and they see one of our articles, they will see one of my presentations, they will see one of my speaking sessions.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of how we met and got introduced, and you could sort of see how it rolls out. And one seed of a
Yeah.
speaking session, goes into more customers, and then that will post to different social media. So part of it is,
Hmm.
obviously I like to do it, and I would say maybe not every founder is blessed with the interest and the will of talking and sharing their experience. which so that's the one blessing, and we were able to really get that wanted benefit, side benefit of getting organic search or getting people know us through that. And your second question of how can really dealers navigate the uncharted
Yeah.
category or territory, uncharted territory of AI, we typically have few advice for them. One is that the AI is important. So that's one general AI. Like there is no way around it where somebody said,
Right.
"Oh, I don't need AI," like or AI is not good enough. That's the second thing that is not true. AI is good enough to do a lot of things right now at this moment. A lot of your competitions are using it, or the other ones
Hmm.
are looking into use it. That is the most popular product right now we're selling is AI agents, where the idea is to automate a big part and help dealers or their staff to do things either after hours and sometimes even during working hours. And if you don't do it, you fall behind. So that's the first step, is to understand and accept that AI is here, your competition is using it, there are softwares that are genuinely fantastically using it, providing a lot of benefits to dealers. Then the question becomes, okay, we want to do software. What do we do? Like, how do we find a software that generally does a good task, and how do we see the pricing? In this section, it is really the conventional methods is the best thing.
Mm,
Just
gotcha.
test a platform. Everybody can show you a
Hmm.
nice demo. Everybody can show you, what it can do. But go through companies that are willing to work with you, that are willing to not just show you, get your hands, let you experience it, not just show you behind the shiny shelf of their demo, but they're willing to put your hands behind the wheel, if you will, and let you experience the software and do trials or pilots that are going to show you really, really how it works, how it solves the problem. So that's the first step. And this
Yeah.
is general advice. It doesn't matter if you're looking to improve your marketing or your sales or your digital marketing or like any area. So you want to work with people that are willing to do that, because that shows the level of trust they have, the level of transparency they have, with and including the pricing and everything as we talked before. You want to first work with people, work with company that is transparent. It is also willing to let you
Hmm.
test drive in a sense. And I don't agree with software companies say, oh, like it takes a lot of resources to get somebody to, test drive. And that's good. That means, you should trust your software so much that, and, because once you tell them it's going to solve that
Hmm.
problem and they're willing to try it, that means they're willing to pay you. So you should be able and willing to put that extra step and extra investment on a software company side to let your customer try the software, knowing that it's so good that they would
Right.
be crazy to say no. And that risk is what is going to help companies grow, and is going to help the word of mouth to go out there. So that's the second thing. The third thing I would say is know what are the areas of AI and what are the areas of technology that AI is now mature enough to really give you an acceptable good result. I give you an example, like this whole when you call somewhere and you get the
Hmm.
sort of a computer
Yeah.
voice. It starts talking to you, and this has been around for I don't know, 15 years, well, no more, like 20
Yeah.
years, 30 years, even maybe. Like I would say, I don't know, at 30 years probably. But you can see that they haven't been able to, and at least for me, every time that I've been calling, like up to, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago, anywhere I would call, I wouldn't even try to make it work with a computer voice. I would just say live agent, live agent, live
Yeah.
agent. I will repeat that until it says not one of the option and hang up, or it would just get tired and said, okay, let me
Right.
transfer you to a live agent. Because like for 20 years a technology has been around, but it hasn't been good enough to really solve the customer's problem. Because why would we have those like a quick pickup auto generated audio?
Right.
Because to solve the customer problem. But clearly they haven't been able to solve the majority of problems. That's why everybody I to speak to, they say, yeah,
Hmm.
we always do the same thing. Now, in the recent years, and I would say maybe within the last 6 months to 1 year, they are much more capable of
Got it.
solving a lot of problems. So the same technology, but the base has changed. Instead of being a more of a conventional rule base, answering and selective of things where they didn't understand the meaning of what, somebody would say, now AI is helping the large language models and neural models of that. The role is to understand what a customer says instead of just looking for specific words. They understand the meaning of a customer, has helped AI and helped these I guess voice assistant calls to be able to much smarter understand what you didn't help you. So the question is, what are other industries that can do this? Image processing has been
Hmm.
super, super powerful
Agreed.
with the new AI. So their understanding of the car, removing the background, replacing the background, redoing the
Hmm.
shadows, redoing the reflection, so that is literally impossible to distinguish a AI generated image from the one that is real, from the one that was manually selected. So now they're extremely, extremely close. So digital merchandising, custom backgrounds, things like that has been one of those areas you definitely want to switch to companies that are using AI doing it. And how do you know if this company is using
Yeah.
AI or they're just lying about it? You would know when you see it. If it is extremely impossible to distinguish difference, that most likely you're using a generative model to really create those shadows. If
Hmm.
it is sort of obvious that this is a car and this is sometimes the car wheel is on the wall, or is it the car seems flying,
Yes.
we get that a lot, people switching to us. And those means they're
Got it.
using conventional methods where it's like that voice audio that is super, super old. Or the same thing with messaging, like
Hmm.
chatbots is another example. You still get like a majority of chatbots are conventional methods, which is really rule based, we call them. They don't have an understanding of the customer's need. So in a world of chatbot is the same thing. You have chatbots that are using base OpenAI model, no
Okay.
other fine tuning, no other addition. So it happens that they want to
Got it.
sell something free, sell a car free if you chat with them. Or they're going to refer a competition. I had the other dealer the other say, why are you switching? Oh, this other chatbot that we have, it is
Oh, wow.
recommending a competition to our customer. So it goes a lot into details, and the
Right,
best way
right,
you would
right.
know is to try it, right? So that's really, I would say, try the software. Digital merchandising as well as AI agents
Okay.
are the two categories that right now they
Every
can
dealer
use.
listening, write that down. Take some good notes on that. Sean, you've got a teacher's heart and a builder's mind. That's rare. I see a lot of future collabs between us, especially helping dealers actually understand this stuff. All right, car people.
Yeah,
Today's
thank you.
prompt is this: what if your smallest store had big store tools in the palm of its hand? Would your process stay the same, or would you finally scale up with confidence? Follow, subscribe, and let's keep this conversation going. Sean, if any dealer, big or small, independent group, if they need to reach out to you just to ask, they found value in listening to you, how do they reach you?
Absolutely. They can email me directly, Sean at glow3d.com, SEAN, and glow3d is GLO3D.com. And I would be happy to direct them. I have some dealers in car groups
Cool.
because I also do speaking, and so they come to me, and sometimes we direct them to other softwares, to be honest. It might be either a product that we don't offer or a product that honestly they can use us, but there are a better version out there. And I would be happy to advise them, would be happy to give them the direction that can really solve their problems. Or they could, probably the
Okay.
email is the best way, but they're welcome to look at our website, give us a call. And if they ask for Sean, typically the team sends me a message, and I will be happy to reach back to
Well,
the
we
folks.
appreciate that greatly, Sean, and thanks for your time. Dealer, follow, subscribe, and let's keep this conversation going. Thanks.